It started as a whisper across the stars. A small, barely detectable signal reached the farthest corners of the galaxy, unnoticed by most. But to the few who were paying attention, it was a sign, a warning, maybe. The signal wasn't from any known species. It wasn't from any alien civilization. It was from Earth. But Earth had been silent for centuries. Their messages had stopped long ago, their ships vanished, their people forgotten. Yet now, something was happening. The signal was faint but steady. It was a pulse of energy, unlike anything the galaxy had ever heard before. There was no message, no warning, just raw power, tuned to a frequency so unique that no one knew how to interpret it. It wasn't a simple signal, like a distress call or a plea for help. It was a challenge. On the fringes of the galaxy, the alert went unnoticed at first. No one cared much about a weak signal from a long-lost world. But soon, it was too strong to ignore. The galaxy's best scientists gathered to investigate. Alien races with advanced technology couldn't decode it. The signal seemed like nothing and everything at the same time, a strange enigma they couldn't figure out. Far away, on the bustling planet of Illis, a council of the galaxy's most powerful species debated what this could mean. Some said it was just a malfunction, a forgotten relic from an ancient Earth probe. Others whispered of a new power emerging from the long-lost humans. But why hadn't they heard from Earth in centuries? Why now? The silence that followed the signal felt heavier than the pulsing message itself. A chill ran through the Galactic Council. Something was coming. And they weren't ready for it. Meanwhile, back on Earth, hidden deep beneath the planet's surface, the truth was unfolding in secret. A fleet of warships, dormant for generations, were waking up. The people of Earth hadn't forgotten their place in the galaxy. They had just been waiting. And now, the signal was the call to arms. The warship, Earth's ultimate weapon, was finally ready. Back in the council chambers, the debate was growing more frantic. No one wanted to admit it, but they could all feel it. The galaxy was on the brink of something huge, something they couldn't control. The warships of old were nothing compared to what Earth had created. This isn't just a signal. It's a message, said the leader of the Elysian Council, a tall alien with silver skin and eyes that glowed like distant stars. A message from Earth. We need to respond, before it's too late, another council member, a sharp-eyed Soltarian, said urgently. If this is a threat, we have no time. But how could they respond to something they didn't understand? The galaxy had grown comfortable. Peace had reigned for centuries. But Earth's return, and the unknown message they had sent, shattered the calm. Every species in the galaxy began to prepare, though none knew exactly what they were preparing for. At that moment, in the dark of space, a fleet of ships was moving. Earth had not sent diplomats. They had sent their warship, a ship unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Its engines hummed to life, its weapon systems charged, and its powerful energy shields activated. It was a symbol of strength, but also of fear. No one could predict what was about to happen next. The signal had been sent as a warning, and now, it was time for the galaxy to understand. Earth wasn't coming to negotiate. Earth wasn't coming for peace. Earth was coming to remind everyone of their power. And in the silence of space, the warship moved forward. The galaxy's greatest fear had just begun. The galaxy waited. Every species that had heard the signal from Earth now sat on the edge of their seats. The faint pulse had become a constant, growing stronger, and louder as it echoed across space. It was clear now, Earth wasn't just sending a message, it was preparing for something big. From the edges of known space, beyond the reach of the great galactic cities, Earth's warship emerged. It wasn't like anything anyone had ever seen before. The ship seemed to grow out of the darkness itself, its silhouette enormous against the distant stars. The warship's shape was sleek yet menacing, a testament to Earth's forgotten power. Its hull was a blend of cold, dark metal, forged with technology far beyond what anyone had imagined Earth capable of. Across the galaxy, countless species watched from their ships, their screens, and their stations, as Earth's warship entered their space. Some were confused, others terrified. No one had expected this. No one had predicted Earth would return with such force. And no one knew what to make of it. On the planet Zoreth, the home world of the powerful Garen Empire, the news spread like wildfire. The Emperor had been informed about Earth's return, but he wasn't ready for this. The warship wasn't just any ship, it was a symbol. The size alone was enough to leave every Garen strategist frozen in fear. The Garen Empire had never seen anything like it. It was an impossible sight. "They're sending a message, but we don't know what it is," one of the Emperor's generals said, staring at the giant warship on the view screen. "And I don't think we can stop it." The Emperor's eyes narrowed as he studied the ship's slow approach. The Garens had been one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy, known for their endless warships and indomitable strength. But even they could not match the power that Earth now wielded. Elsewhere, on the home planet of the Elysians, leaders were scrambling to assess the situation. Panic was beginning to set in. The Elysian fleet had been deployed, ready to intercept the Earth ship if needed. Their entire council had been debating for hours, but the truth was sinking in, they had no way of understanding the full scope of Earth's power. As the warship approached the edge of their systems, the first shot was fired. But not towards them. It was a single burst, a blast of energy so powerful it shattered a nearby asteroid into dust, sending debris flying. A warning shot. The galaxy watched in silence. "Earth doesn't want peace," the Elysian leader said, his voice grave. "Earth wants control." But the warship didn't stop. It continued its course through the galaxy, heading toward the galactic center, the very heart of the peaceful alliance of species. The fear was spreading, now, like a storm. In the deep reaches of space, beyond the galaxy's core, a voice echoed out from the heart of the warship. It wasn't a message. It wasn't even a warning. It was the beginning of something far more terrifying. The voice spoke in perfect galactic common, the universal language. "Do not resist. Earth has returned. Your time is over." The words sent shivers down the spines of everyone who heard them. The message was simple, yet it held a weight no one could deny. Earth wasn't just sending a ship. Earth was declaring its return to power. They were not here for peace talks, nor for diplomacy. They had come to reshape the galaxy as they saw fit. The alien races that had once mocked Earth were now trembling at the thought of the warship's power. It wasn't just an army that Earth had sent, it was a message of dominance. The warship was an unstoppable force, a symbol of Earth's rebirth. And in the galaxy's deepest corners, they began to realize, Earth had been watching, waiting for centuries. They had learned, adapted, and now, they had returned stronger than ever. The warship was just the beginning. What would happen next? No one knew. But one thing was certain, the galaxy would never be the same again. For days, the warship glided through space, its engines humming a deep, rhythmic pulse that resonated through the galaxy. Every civilization that came into its path stopped everything they were doing. News from across the stars spread quickly, Earth's warship had arrived, and it wasn't waiting for anyone's permission. The Galactic Council, made up of representatives from hundreds of alien species, held an emergency meeting. The representatives of each faction sat in tense silence, their faces a mixture of fear and disbelief. They had never encountered a force like this before. To think, they had once dismissed Earth as a primitive world, now a forgotten species in the farthest reaches of space. The council president, a tall, regal figure from the Elysian people, spoke first. His voice was steady but carried a sense of urgency. "We must act now. If we do not make contact, we risk triggering an all-out war," he said, staring at the holographic image of Earth's warship. The debate continued for hours. The Galaxians, a technologically advanced race known for their sleek star cruisers, proposed sending a delegation to Earth's warship, hoping to speak with their leaders and avoid unnecessary conflict. They believed that diplomacy was still an option. But others were not so sure. We cannot trust them. Earth's message was clear, they're not here for peace, a representative from the Varkan Empire argued. His voice trembled slightly with fear. They're here to show us their power, and we're not prepared. It was true. No one was prepared. No one could have predicted that Earth would send such an enormous, nearly invincible warship as their messenger. Some of the species represented at the council had fleets of thousands of ships. Yet, when faced with the looming shadow of Earth's warship, they felt as small as ants beneath a boot. Back on Earth, the situation was different. While the galaxy was frozen in fear, Earth's leaders, hidden beneath the surface, deep within their underground command centers, watched as their warship drifted closer to the galactic heart. They didn't feel the same fear. They felt something else, anticipation. It had been a long time since Earth had been silenced. It had been a long time since Earth had been ignored. Now, they were making sure that would never happen again. The humans didn't want war. Not at first. But centuries of being overlooked, of being left out of the galactic conversations, had hardened them. Now, Earth's power would be felt. No one would dare underestimate them again. As the Council's decision was being made, the warship was nearing the planet Illis. Illis was the home of the Galactic Council, a symbol of peace and diplomacy. It had been the heart of the galaxy for generations, a place where all species came together to resolve their differences. But as Earth's warship approached, Illis no longer felt like a sanctuary. The inhabitants of Illis were used to peace, but this wasn't peace. The warship was silent, its presence alone enough to shake the foundations of Illis. No words, no shots, no threats, just the ship, looming like a dark storm cloud on the horizon. A fleet of Elysian ships had been dispatched to intercept the warship, but they were nothing more than a handful of fragile ships compared to the behemoth Earth had sent. As they neared the warship, the Elysian captain's voice crackled through the comms. "This is Captain Thelos of the Elysian fleet. We come in peace. We request a meeting with Earth's leadership." For a long moment, there was nothing but silence. Then, suddenly, the warship responded. The massive ship spoke, its voice booming through the galaxy. "We are Earth. No meeting is necessary. Stand down." The words were simple, but they carried the weight of 1,000 wars. The message was unmistakable, Earth wasn't asking for permission. Earth wasn't negotiating. Earth was in control. The Elysian captain, trying to mask the fear in his voice, gave the order for the fleet to retreat. He knew they stood no chance. Farther back, the council members had been watching, stunned by the warship's reply. It was clear now. Earth wasn't here to negotiate. They had come to dominate, to remind the galaxy of their power. The first encounter had not been one of peace, but a harsh statement. Earth had made its presence known. It was a declaration that shook the galaxy's core. And as the warship turned its path toward the heart of the galaxy, the fear spread even further. The galaxy had never feared a single planet, until now. As the warship continued its journey, its path carved a terrifying trail through the galaxy. The image of Earth's ultimate weapon, silent, unstoppable, and ever looming, became the subject of nightmares across every known star system. No one could ignore it, and no one dared to approach it. The galaxy had never known a power like this, and the sudden realization struck with the weight of a collapsing star. Earth had returned, and nothing would ever be the same. On the planet Varkos, the leaders of the powerful Varkan Empire were already preparing for war. Their elite forces, some of the most advanced in the galaxy, began moving into position. The Varkans, known for their cold logic and brutal strength, had never been afraid of any enemy. Yet, as they watched Earth's warship advance, they felt an unfamiliar unease. The warship's very presence rendered their greatest weapons insignificant. The Varkans could fight armies, but how could they fight a single ship that had the power to erase worlds? "We've never encountered a force like this," General Tarkith, one of the Varkan Empire's most respected military minds, said to the council. This isn't just a military presence. This is a statement. But the Varkans weren't alone in their fear. The galaxy-wide panic spread like wildfire. Each species responded in its own way, some prepared their fleets for battle, others retreated into their planets, trying to hide from what they could not face. Governments held emergency meetings, but the truth was, they had no plan. No one knew how to deal with Earth's warship, and no one dared to challenge it. In the quietest corners of space, the reputation of the Terran Terror grew. Whispers of Earth's might began to haunt the minds of every galactic leader. Even those who had once mocked humanity now trembled in fear. The once weak and insignificant human race had come to wield a power that could not be contested. The soundless march of their warship was like a countdown to something even more dangerous. Back on Earth, deep in the underground control rooms, a different story was unfolding. Humanity was not simply reacting. They were in control, their warship leading the charge. The leaders of Earth, hidden from the eyes of the galaxy, knew that their arrival would shake the galaxy to its core. And it had. Let them fear, Commander Vera, the leader of Earth's Strategic Council, said as she stood in front of a massive holographic display showing the warship's path through space. They have forgotten us. They think they can ignore Earth. They will learn. We've given them time to prepare for the inevitable. Now, they will see that Earth is not weak. We will show them that we are not a race to be trampled on anymore. Commander Vera's voice was firm, but there was a coldness in it, a kind of resolve that only comes from years of preparing for the moment when the galaxy would no longer dismiss you. But even within Earth's walls, not all were in agreement. Some, like General Iris, questioned the wisdom of the warship's silent march toward the galactic center. The message has been sent, General Iris argued. Why keep moving forward? Why not make contact? Let them know we are not here to destroy them, but to show our strength. The warship is only a symbol. No, Commander Vera replied sharply. The galaxy needs to understand that we are no longer asking for a seat at the table. We've earned the right to be at the center of this galaxy. They will understand soon enough. Back in the galaxy, the warship's path was unstoppable, its presence undeniable. It cut through systems like a blade, leaving a trail of fear and uncertainty in its wake. The once proud and powerful species that had looked down on Earth now found themselves trembling, their fleets unprepared for a conflict that could shift the balance of the entire galaxy. Diplomacy was no longer an option. Negotiation was useless. Earth wasn't asking for peace, Earth had come to take its place in the galaxy. In the heart of the galaxy, the Council's final meeting was called. This time, there would be no speeches about peace or diplomacy. This time, the galaxy's greatest minds faced the undeniable truth, Earth had already made its move, and nothing could stop them. The final question echoed through the council chambers: what is Earth's true goal? For the first time in a long time, no one had an answer. As the warship approached, the galaxy collectively held its breath. As Earth's warship approached the heart of the galaxy, its reputation had already spread far and wide. Fear had taken root in the minds of every galactic leader, and the once unified galaxy was now in chaos. Alliances that had stood for millennia began to fracture, and species that had long been rivals now eyed one another warily, unsure of what Earth's return would mean for their future. The warship's path was straightforward, its movements deliberate and calculated. It didn't rush, didn't show any sign of impatience. It simply moved, a dark shadow growing ever larger against the stars. Each day, the galaxy felt the weight of its approach. The distance between the warship and the galactic core grew smaller, and with every passing hour, the fear intensified. But as the warship drew closer, something unexpected happened. In the quiet of their hidden command centers, the leaders of Earth began to reveal the true purpose behind their arrival: not to conquer, not to destroy, but to fulfill a promise that had been made long ago. Commander Vera stood before a massive holographic display, watching the trajectory of the warship with a calm expression. She wasn't worried. This was all according to plan. We've waited long enough, she said softly to General Iris, who stood beside her. The galaxy has forgotten what it means to be human. They've forgotten the power we once had. But no more. General Iris nodded slowly, a somber expression crossing his face. But if we don't stop now, we risk everything. The galaxy won't bend to us willingly. They'll fight. Commander Vera turned to him, her gaze hard. They will fight, yes. But not for long. What they don't realize is that we didn't come here to conquer. We came to protect. For a moment, General Iris said nothing. He studied her face, unsure whether he fully understood her intentions. The idea of Earth's return as a protector, as a savior, was something that hadn't crossed the minds of anyone but the humans themselves. What do you mean, protect? General Iris asked cautiously. Earth was always a guardian, Iris, Vera replied, her voice steady, but there was a glimmer of something in her eyes, something like a deep, buried sadness. Long ago, when the first galactic alliances were formed, humanity stood as a neutral force. We were the peacekeepers, the ones who kept order in the galaxy. We stopped wars, saved entire civilizations from extinction. But then, we were forgotten. We were left behind. General Iris was silent, watching her intently. He had never known this side of Earth. He had only heard of the brutal, relentless humanity of the past century, of a species that had learned to fight, to conquer, to survive. But now, as he listened to Vera, he understood something new. You've kept this a secret? Iris asked. Commander Vera nodded. For too long, we've hidden the truth. Earth was never just a planet among many. We were the ones who protected the balance. When we sent that signal, it wasn't a threat, it was a call. We knew something was coming. A dark force that could tear apart everything we've fought to protect. The warship, it isn't just a weapon. It's a beacon. A beacon? Iris asked, confused. A beacon for those who are still loyal, she said. Those who remember. The galaxy is divided now, and the peacekeepers are gone. But Earth is here to restore the balance. The warship isn't here to destroy. It's here to remind the galaxy that there's still a force capable of keeping order. If the galaxy wants peace, they'll have to remember what peace really means. We will show them that Earth is not a force of destruction, it's a force of protection. Back in the Galactic Council, the tension had reached a boiling point. The representatives from every species were desperate for answers. The warship had been looming over their heads for weeks now, and no one knew how to stop it. But what they didn't know was that Earth's leadership wasn't trying to force their will upon the galaxy, they were offering a choice. The council members, now realizing that Earth had come to restore the peace, began to question everything they had believed about humanity. The stories of Earth's past, their near extinction during the early years of space exploration, and their miraculous rise to power, all of it seemed to align now. Earth wasn't coming for dominance, they were coming to lead again. But even as the realization began to set in, doubt still lingered. Could the galaxy trust Earth? Could they accept a new protector, especially one that had been absent for so long? The decision to accept Earth's offer would change everything. The galaxy, once united in peace, now had to face the harsh truth. Earth had been watching, waiting, and now they were ready to reclaim their place in the galaxy. And there was no going back.